Welcome to The Grounded Leader, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern living and ambition. Today, we are diving into a topic that doesn't get nearly enough attention in boardrooms or in burnout recovery plans: sleep. But not just sleep for the sake of sleep. We're exploring how insomnia is actually a leadership crisis and why Ayurveda believes poor sleep disrupts your subtle body, your decision making, and your ability to lead from a place of wisdom. If you're a high performer running on fumes, constantly overstimulated, or struggling with tired but wired nights, this one is for you. The leadership cost of poor sleep. Let's be honest. We've normalized exhaustion. The I'll sleep when I'm dead culture has become quite a badge of honor in leadership circles. But here's the truth Ayurveda teaches us. When your nervous system is fried and your ojas, which is your vitality, is depleted, you're not a visionary. You are a volcano, ready to erupt even if you're holding it together on Zoom. Science backs this too. Lack of sleep impairs cognitive function, emotional regulation, and executive decision making. But in Ayurveda, this is more than just biology. It's a disturbance of your doshas and subtle energies. Insomnia isn't just a sleep problem, it's a vata imbalance in the mind. And vata governs movement, including your thoughts, your breath, and your nervous system. So when vata goes out of control, you get racing thoughts, shallow sleep, and a mind that can't shut off. And here's the kicker: vata imbalance often strikes high achievers because ambition, speed, multitasking, they all aggravate vata. So, what does Ayurveda say about sleep? In Ayurveda, sleep is one of the three pillars of life alongside food, which is called ahara, and energy management called brahmacharya in Sanskrit. Now, good sleep basically means regenerative power. It builds ojas, your vitality, your glow, your resilience. Here is the Ayurvedic view. Sleep is the time when the body digests impressions, just like it digests food. If your mind is overstimulated, scrolling at night, solving tomorrow's crisis at midnight, you're not giving your subtle body time to rest or reset. Your subtle body, what is that? So, manas, which is called the mind, we've all heard the word prana in yoga studios. It means life force. And ojas, something that I've been talking about in this podcast, your vitality, your glow, your resilience, your immunity, all of that is ojas. That gets disturbed. And now this can lead to burnout, lack of clarity, and yes, reactive, ungrounded leadership. In other words, you may still be performing, but you've lost your presence. So here are some nightly rituals of ground. So here are some of the nightly rituals of grounded leaders, according to Ayurveda. Now, we'll talk about these nightly rituals that high performers can adopt, rituals that are subtle, sensory, and actually doable, not another thing added to your to-do list. So here are some of the essentials. Dinner by 6 p.m., light, warm, and easy to digest dinner, which could be a soup, even if it's a chicken and vegetable soup, let it be just a simple soup or cooked veggies or khichdi, which is, think of it as a spiced gruel made with lentils and vegetables and basmati rice. Basically, no heavy meats or fried food. No screens after 8 p.m. Digital overstimulation aggravates vata dosha, and that can flood the mind with excess sensory input. Abhyanga, which is self massage with warm sesame oil, it can really calm the nervous system. Even a 5 minute foot massage can help ground excess vata and invite deeper sleep. Herbal support. Now, let me preface this: always consult an Ayurvedic doctor or practitioner before you start taking any kind of herbal support because plant medicine is potent, it has contraindications, and it can interfere with your Western medication. So herbs like ashwagandha and brahmi are adaptogens that support the mind and sleep. But remember to consult with an Ayurvedic practitioner before you start taking these herbal pills. Have a bedtime ritual. Sip warm milk with turmeric, ghee, and nutmeg. And if you're lactose intolerant or vegan, there are nut milks. It doesn't have to be cow's milk. So you can, do that. Light a calming scent like sandalwood or lavender. Journal out any lingering thoughts. And one of my favorite practices before going to bed, when I wake up in the morning, during stress and anxiety, and just about anything, even when I'm like, stuck while commuting, is the alternate nostril breathing. Do that 7 to 9 times. And finally, go to bed by 10 p.m. Why? Because from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., pitta becomes dominant. And if you are awake, that fire keeps you wired. So here are some final reflections. The world doesn't need more sleep deprived leaders on autopilot. It needs more grounded, attuned, rested leaders, ones who lead with intuition, clarity, and calm. Ayurveda doesn't just ask, how much are you getting done? It asks, who are you becoming in the process? Sleep is not a luxury, it is spiritual hygiene, it is leadership hygiene. And when you honor rest, you don't just feel better, you lead better. So, friends, if this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with a fellow leader or entrepreneur who's been battling burnout and sleepless nights. Go to my website and get the free sleep rejuvenating guide. And if you want personalized guidance on sleep and wellness from an Ayurvedic lens, reach out to me at www.shwetavikram.com. All of the information in the show notes below. Until next time, stay rooted, stay rested, stay radiant, and sleep well.